Good point. Yes, thank you very much for reminding me. Welcome Keith Saviel to our committee.
Thank you.
And we're looking forward to working with you. And so our first item of business is electing committee members. And we've got some people who are not here today. So I don't know if we want to postpone that till everybody who's a potential committee meeting officer.
So, do we have an alternate to this committee, or is it just Commissioner Rice is the only one not here?
Albritton isn't here either.
Oh, Commissioner Albritton.
Yeah, he's normally here. Did he call in or anything?
He's coming
Yes.
back from Tallahassee.
No. Oh, okay.
Is Dan the same, is Dan's on this? No. Okay.
Does anybody know if anybody else that is missing?
Nope.
Pat Gerard is off now?
She's off now. Yeah, that's
Okay,
why we have
and we've got to get
select
another
chair.
member from the county board then on.
Well,
Is
it's-
that correct? No?
Darn
No,
Rice on this?
we have a
Darn
full
Rice
committee,
and,
we're good. We just need to elect a new chair
From Stillwater.
and vice chair.
Okay, so my question is, do we elect people in absentia, or do we wait till they're here? That's my question. What's the procedure that we normally do?
I don't know
Normally,
if
we
have
just-
a procedure.
We
I normally
just do
elect
it.
people who aren't here and can't defend themselves? Is that what we do? All right,
Okay, good.
all
Okay,
right.
ready
Yes, go
for
ahead.
nomination?
Yes, I'm ready for nominations.
I would nominate Josh Schulman as chair, and Dan Soraki.
Dan's not on this
I mean,
meeting.
Dave Albritton.
Yeah, Dave Albritton, vice chair.
Okay. That's the only two positions we have to fill as chair and vice chair?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, since they're not here, well, Josh is here. Sorry about that.
I'm not all
right.
here.
Yeah, right. But
That's always the case.
Commissioner Albritton is not here, and he would certainly, he's been on the committee now for a period of time, so he should be fine for that position. Okay? Do we have a quorum where we can vote?
We do, but I need a second.
Okay.
I'll second. Okay.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, passage unanimously without their help. So what can we say?
With the only caveat that I will miss our next meeting.
All right. All right, well, we'll get right
That's
to
why we
it.
have a vice chair.
So Albritton will be the chair, okay,
We should let him know.
yeah. Okay. BRT construction oversight. Abhishek is in the hot seat today. What's going on,
We're
man?
flipping it, sorry, huh?
Oh, that's right, we're flipping them, sorry about that.
You can take
County
over.
beach access construction.
You want me to take the power away from
You-
this
you-
guy?
Yeah.
I forgot it already, I
Easy,
should.
settle down, I got it from here. All right.
Okay, go ahead.
So we want to do the county beach access construction contract, correct? First?
Yes, we did.
Abhishek. Please and thank you.
I'll give Abhishek the awesome intro he deserves. Welcome to the new decade, and the decade in which the Tampa Bay will join basically every other metro area in the world in having rapid transit. And we're excited to have this committee be the first committee to approve construction of a rapid transit system, part of a rapid transit system in the history of the Tampa Bay since 1532 or whenever,
How long we've been here?
how long we've been here. That's right.
Could be
So-
accurate.
Welcome, Commissioner Rice. You barely escaped being named chair or vice chair just a second ago.
Garden, we're on 3D, we moved, oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Our new chair, actually, I took.
We'll have it.
Yeah, I should have jumped in.
So with that, the next two items on your agenda, Abhishek's going to lead you through two recommendations that are related to the BRT. And the first one being the construction of County Beach Park, and the second one to approve the construction management and oversight consultant contracts.
Well, good morning, Planning Committee, and Happy New Year to everyone. And we're starting off this year with some construction phasing of the BRT project. One of the things that we've been working on, as you are aware, is for the request of City of St. Pete Beach, we have modified the CAT service in their community. And starting in June, we plan on further modifying the service to terminate at the County Beach Access Park. And as you are also aware, we've been working with Pinellas County and FDOT to get the necessary approvals to be able to utilize the County Beach Access Park. So to that end, we are looking to construct a bus turnaround facility to
Sorry.
allow for CAT services to safely turn around that facility and head back to downtown St. Pete. So as soon as Rachel
I don't know,
pulls it up.
it keeps switching back and forth for some reason.
Oh, well, if you want to just leave that like that, yeah, that's good. So this is just a high-level overview of where the CAT service will come down to the beach park, and we will be constructing a bus-only access into the park. And then buses can essentially just turn around at that location and head back into downtown St. Pete. The other view, Rachel, can you move to the other graphic? That shows the actual design of the facility, turnaround facility. And so, as you can see from this graphic, we will be constructing a bus-only entrance into the park.
I don't know where this is.
Do you want to close that other?
I did, and I even deleted it off the.
We can just leave it like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Just don't maximize.
That's good.
Perfect. And so, as part of this project, we will be constructing a long bus platform that can accommodate not only the Central Avenue trolley bus, but also in the future, when we start the BRT construction and we have BRT buses coming in here, both CAT and BRT bus can use this facility to lay over and then turn around at that same location.
But would it, if we do go to the articulating buses at some point in time, that will accommodate?
Yes, sir. Yes. So this will be long enough to accommodate a CAT and a 60-foot bus.
I asked this question, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, go ahead. I didn't mean to jump in.
Please, Mr. Barkley.
Thank you. I asked this question last time. How do our friends at the Don Cesar feel about the fact that their workers are going to have to get off a bus at the beach terminal and take a jitney down to their job? How's that going to help them with their employees getting to work on time? How's that going to help people who are staying at their hotel who want to get to St. Pete to go to a museum or something along those lines? It seems like this is really an impediment to the whole idea of rapid transit.
Well, transfers is, is a problem for riders having to switch between multiple routes to get to their destination. So we'll have to coordinate closely with St. Pete Beach to allow for that to happen so they can go further south to their destinations.
The shuttle that the city of St. Pete Beach is operating in the pastoral area will be extended up to this.
No, that's really not my question. My question is the time. The question is the inconvenience. The question is, if the Don Cesar is a big hotel, and there are other smaller hotels in that same area, they're not getting proper service, just because the folks who are on the St. Pete Beach Commission don't want buses in their town. That's a real issue in my estimation. It's going to help nobody, and it's going to hurt us. And just speaking from the PSTA standpoint, we're not going to have as many riders because people are going to rent a car or take an Uber or something like that instead of riding us because of the fact that it's inconvenient with this artificial method.
Well, I would say that the concerns or the concerns were not really expressed by the Don Cesar Hotel or the workers at the hotel. It was really the neighborhood south of the hotel, Passive Grill, residents that were.
Yeah, I understand Passive Grill, but
that led to the St. Pete Beach Commission voting to not have any transit service south of the Don Cesar with the larger vehicles, with buses, and instead go with the small little golf cart. resorts.
Yeah, I understand that.
It won't be great.
Okay.
But-
Right, but the reason I'm asking the question is, when people wake up and smell the coffee, we're gonna have expended a substantial amount of money to build a bus stop that may not really be used that much. That's my concern. Because people from south of the park are gonna be inconvenienced by having to take a jitney first to get to the bus stop
Well-
in the park, to go elsewhere.
The modeling activities for the BRT and the trolley don't indicate a substantial, any kind of substantial portion of the overall ridership on the BRT or trolley.
Okay. All right.
Just from the trade winds and the other much larger resorts are north.
Yes,
are
I
still served
understand.
on
Yeah,
it.
and they're fine, yeah.
They're fine, and
Okay.
this puts you right at the beach.
Yeah, I understand. There's nothing wrong
Commoners
with
like
that. The
ourselves
problem
cannot go
is-
to the Don
yeah,
Cesar
okay.
Beach without paying.
If they're not
a
complaining,
very
then I
large
guess there's
fee.
not anything we need to worry about. Okay.
Sure.
Yes. I'm sorry.
Old
It's-
habits die hard.
I have a few questions. I'll do it sequentially as the BRT takes a right to come in. So at the bus platform, will there be shelters?
Yes, we, for the initial phase, just for the CAT service in June, we will be installing PSTA standard shelters, which we will replace with BRT shelters when it's time for BRT, full-blown BRT construction.
There's 2 lanes. It looks like there's 2 lanes to go in. So the bus that would take the left lane, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, how do passengers board for buses that are in the far lane?
So the far lane is only for the bus behind the front bus to overtake that and pass it.
Oh, okay.
It's not for boarding.
Okay, so that's not the lane they're really supposed to turn into?
Correct.
Okay.
All buses will have to turn into the side where the bus platforms are,
Mhm.
so that passengers can safely board and alight at that location. If the bus behind the front bus has to leave first, then it can move around that front bus and leave the facility. That's why it was designed.
And then will there be some sort of signalized timing with the light so that as a bus, BRT is taking a left back out? Is that light going to be preferential to BRT?
We are going to request signal priority if the buses are running behind schedule. So that traffic signal, along with all the ones that are north along Gulf Boulevard, those will be designed in a way so that the bus can keep its schedule, so that would still remain as part of the BRT.
Okay. And I don't mean to get ahead of you, but it looks like there's plenty of signage opportunities in this area, especially that little pie wedge right there.
Yes, and we do plan on installing the vertical signage, so the motorists also know that the entrance is for buses only. It's not for regular cars. So we'll be putting up signage not only on Gulf Boulevard, but also inside the facility to minimize that conflict.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and we're not making any changes to Route 90, am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, so it still goes by the Don Cesar and heads north.
Well, yeah,
Twice
it
a
takes a
day.
right just north of Don Cesar.
Yeah. And then it will also go drop at the station also?
It won't be going inside this
Okay.
facility.
Okay,
Because we have stops, we still have stops along Gulf Boulevard.
Is that intersection right there the one that goes over to the Publix too? Yes.
Yes.
In the Chick-fil-A and all that.
Yes, there's a Publix right across from that crosswalk on the north
Okay,
side.
good. Good.
Madam Chair, you said it was said that the city of St. Pete Beach is going to be working to connect their service to ours. Are they going to use the same stop, or have we not gotten that far in conversations?
To be honest, we have not gotten that far on where their service, the on-demand service, will stop. And, is there a location where both of them will stop at the same location or not? I think that has to be worked out as well.
Okay. Thank you.
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Al Burns to talk about the procurement process for this facility.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Al Burns, Director of Procurement. In December 10th, we issued an invitation for bids, soliciting bids from experienced, qualified, and capable general contractors. On the 13th of December, we held a pre-bid meeting. That's where we described the project. We encouraged DBE participation and overall competition on this project. The IFB was posted on PSTA's website, Demand Star, and I'm glad to let you know that the procurement department has been working with FDOT, and now we're allowed to post some of our solicitations on the FDOT website as well. On January 7th, we received two bids, one from Odyssey Global in the amount of $343,000, and Tampa Contracting Services Incorporated in the amount of $392,000. The apparent low bidder was submitted to the project management office and the engineer of record to check the price for fair and reasonableness, and it was deemed to be, the pricing was deemed to be fair and reasonable. We did a top to bottom check on this on Odyssey, and part of that is we do a check on the excluded parties list where we check the Fed list to see if they're not suspended or debarred. We also did a credit report where we did a business credit report on them, and they also are a certified Florida general contractor, and their license number is listed as 1528022. As you may know, I'm also serve as the DBELO, which stands for the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Liaison Officer. So I'm going to put that hat on now, and I am just absolutely excited about this project. We put 11.82% DBE goal on this project, and I am very, very pleased and excited to let the committee know that we got a 66% DBE commitment to this project, which equates to a value of $225,000. So I just want to take my hat off to my procurement staff, Angelique Baker, and the person that's doing the DBE effort, Ms. Maggie Soto, and they did an awesome job in that. With that, I'll turn it back over to Abhishek.
I have a quick question for Al. I should know this, but what is the difference between when we do an invitation for bid and an RFP?
An invitation for bid, in short, an invitation for bid is price only. That's
Okay.
in RFP, there's a evaluation criteria.
And I actually have a question.
I'm surprised.
The 66% DBE commitment, how do we evaluate that after the fact? And what does that do if they don't hit that? How does that work if they don't hit those marks?
Before the solicitation is let or released, we have a calculation that we look at all the disciplines that a construction project or any project has in it. Based on the amount of contractors that are DBE, and DBE is, that are DBE, and that's being certified means that they're ready, willing, and able. So we look at the disciplines, we look at the amount of DBEs that are in Central Florida, and we come up with a calculation for that. Part of the process now that we started with the PMO office is we review that DBE goal to make sure that the project management office is on board with that. Once the solicitation is let and we receive bids back, what we do is if they meet it, in this case, hey, great, we check the DBE to make sure that they're certified either through FDOT, the airport, whatever certifying agency, and make sure they're able to. If a company does not meet the DBE goal, what we have to do is we have to make sure that they put forth what is known in DBE as a good faith effort. And it's outlined in the solicitation what is considered to be a good faith effort, and you have to be able to show documentation to show that, hey, I called these DBEs, I called these firms, and they weren't able to participate. So it's a pretty extensive check that we do, because also the DBE is part of something that the FTA requires on each project, and we have to report that twice a year, whether or not we met our DBE goal or met or did not meet.
So Odyssey Global, as a firm, needs to either retain, 2/3 of their subcontractors or employees need to fit the DBE definition or make a good faith effort to accomplish that.
What,
Am I getting that right, or?
the way that they're subcontractors.
Right.
Not their actual employees. They're
Okay.
subcontractors.
But even so, 66%, they're committing to using 2/3 of their subcontractors as DBE qualified.
Correct.
Or making a good faith effort to obtain 2/3.
Yes, sir.
If they don't meet that good faith effort, or they don't meet the 66%, is there any penalty or back-end correction that is made?
I would say that there's if they submit to me in the procurement office, the paperwork to show that they made a good faith effort, we'll take that in consideration. But I always say trust but verify. So if you say that they called these two firms, I'm going to call those two firms to make sure that they did actually reach out and contact them. I say some of the effort also lies on the DBEs in the community as well. So what we do is we make a concerted effort to reach out to the DBE community to let them know of the upcoming projects that we have. Most recently, we participated in a project forum, contractor forum specifically for the BRT project. The very next day, my staff went on the road to Orlando to FDOT's first DBE event, and I would like to say that we were one of two transit agencies in the whole state that participated in that. So we're making a concerted effort, and we're just trying to hold the vendor community accountable.
Thank you.
The penalty ultimately would that be a violation of their contract? I mean, it would be breach of the contract, and all the different remedies that are available up to cancellation theoretically could.
I just want to make sure, because it's a great commitment. I want to make sure it is
It's
something that we can
happens.
enforce, it's
Yeah.
something that
Yes.
we're going to measure.
Yes, sir.
And that it's not just something they put on paper.
There's a whole process. We go out there and we make sure that, hey, what company are you representing? And they have to show us paperwork and stuff like that. There's a whole process that we follow up. We just don't just sign the contract and walk away from it.
I didn't think we did that much, but thank you.
Move approval.
Second.
Abhishek, was there more that you wanted to?
I was just gonna say that
Sorry about that.
Oh, sorry.
the cost of this facility is
Second.
included as part of the BRT project, with 43.9 million. And also, another thing I wanted to point out is FTA just last week gave us the approval to move forward with the construction of this facility. So that was a good sign from FTA's perspective as well. So just those 2 points.
Thank you.
I had one thing. And how about the money from FTA? How's that coming?
We're still working with them closely on the allocation and the grant agreement.
Right.
As you know, there's a long list of things we have to complete, and we're checking off most of the boxes. In fact, most of the boxes we've already checked off. So we're very pleased and so that
This approval that we got to allow us to go forth with this construction is a very positive sign.
But just out of curiosity, I'm sorry.
Please.
You know,
We would have to do this either way, whether the BRT is approved or not.
Yes.
So if the BRT is not approved, does that change the funding source for this, or how we pay for it?
The federal government has approved that this, when they approve the money for the BRT, that this is eligible for within the project cost and their funds for the BRT. If, and we're not expecting this, if for some reason the funding never materializes for the BRT, then as it's written here, then PSA's own budget will pay for that. And like you say, it is needed for the trolley anyway.
Okay.
It'll come out of our
All right,
capital program.
if the BRT continues to drag its feet on getting the funding, then we're gonna allocate some of our own funds for this and then hope to be reimbursed when the funding comes for the BRT. Is that basically it?
Yes.
And we have the funds to do this from other sources?
Yes.
Okay. All right. No, thank you.
We have,
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
No problem. We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. For a consent agenda, unless anyone has an objection. I think it's certainly worthwhile highlighting the design and what's happening to the park and that it's moving forward. But I don't know if we need to sit through the presentation on the cost and
See, there's no other PowerPoints.
the contract extensions and those sorts of things. But if it's up to the rest of the committee as well.
No, I'm talking about the construction, not the item that Abhishek was about to talk now. The construction oversight services. I guess I was confused.
So what I was saying is I didn't necessarily think it was necessary for the board to go through the contract extension, the construction contract approval. An information item on what's being done as part of that might be helpful and nice to highlight the changes, the routes, and talk about that. Kind of a truncated version of that.
Okay.
Less as an action item, more as an information.
So noted.
So we're now on to the construction oversight.
Yes, so tied to the construction phase of the BRT project, we will require contract amendments to two of our contractors. That was planned and also budgeted as part of the BRT project. The first one is with H.W. Lochner, which is our design firm that's completing the design as we speak for the BRT project. And this contract amendment will essentially allow for their oversight and support services during the construction phase. And it's for a not to exceed amount of $650,000, which will update their contract limit from $3.55 million to $4.2 million. These costs, again, anticipated, these were planned, and these are part of the $43.9 million project. The second contract amendment that we're requesting is with HDR Inc. As you might recall, they are our project management, construction management team. And this contract amendment will provide support services during the construction phase for BRT as well. And so the total requested contract amendment is $1.11 million, which will bring their total contract value from 1.7 to 2.8 million. So, and again, this contract amendment is also included in the $43.9 million BRT project cost. With that, I'm happy to take questions.
My main question here is, we're expending a lot of money, and there's still no indication from the feds when we're going to get this project approved. And I know we have to jump through all these hoops to show our good faith, but at some point, we've got to get approval of this thing, because we're going to spend a ton of money for a project that didn't get done. And that's my concern. It's been my concern for the last year and a half or 2 years. And things just are dragging and dragging and dragging. Is there anything we can do to inject some interest into, sorry about that, anything we can do to inject some interest into getting this thing going? I know we're in competition with a bunch of other similar projects around the country, and we need to keep a really close eye on this. We're potentially getting ahead of ourselves because we're not getting the support that we need at the federal level. And I approved it, but I just want to make sure we're talking to all the right people and getting this thing moving.
So, thank you, Commissioner Barkley, for your thoughtful comments. Just I would say a point of maybe comparison. The amounts of funding for our rapid transit project here are substantially less than almost every other project in the pipeline in the list of projects. At $43.9 million, it's a very, and the 50% funding that we're seeking from the federal government, $22 million, it's one of the lowest amounts compared to every other project across the country. Be assured that we are putting incredible focus on all of the steps that we can take to ensure that this project is successful and that we do secure the funding, the federal funding. We have all of the rest of the funding secured, as Abhishek identified. He and his team have been working, and his design team have been checking all of the myriad of boxes, such that our past chair, Commissioner Long, had a personal phone call with the FTA administrator right before the holidays, and the FTA administrator, checked with her staff and confirmed that we had checked all the boxes necessary to be approved for this grant, and that she assured our Commissioner Long that we would be receiving the funding hopefully early in 2020, or receiving the allocation. Now, there is a national issue that Congress has been, frankly, beating up the administration about them slowing down the allocation of funds, congressionally approved funds, approved by Congress for transportation projects, and then the administration is potentially going slower in doling out the money to cities all across the country. So we're working through all that process. The letter of no prejudice, the approval for the County Beach Park that we got from the feds is now becoming standard because of the slow allocation of funds, that they give you this approval to spend your own money first. At least in our experience, we've never seen them give an approval, and in our lobbyists, they've never seen FTA give an approval for a project where the money didn't ultimately flow. It's just slow. It just seems like it's slower. But you're exactly right. We need to keep the pressure on. We've got our lobbyists having Congress, the House Transportation Committee calling over there about our project. We've got Whitney over there calling the marketing man at FTA to offer our beautiful, shiny city as a host for President Trump to come to our beautiful county and announce this project, if so need be. So I really don't know if there's anything more we can do, and the FTA administrator said so. It just, there's a few things going on in Washington, D.C. that, from day to day, and maybe they're distracted, I don't know, but stay tuned.
Okay.
Abhishek, quick question for you. So you said all of these numbers are within the proposed budget. So we're just we're contracting for the next phase in the proposal. It's not new money. It's already part of what's been approved by the board. Is there any other questions, or I'll entertain a motion?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the additional $650,000 for the design firm and the additional $1.1 million for the oversight firm to continue in the BRT construction project.
One second.
All right, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. And Abhishek, you're still up for temporary construction easement.
Yes. So just in line with continuing with working with all our stakeholders as we proceed into construction phase, to memorialize our partnership with USF during the construction phase. This item is essentially a request for a temporary construction easement because a portion of the station will be on their property. So we've been working with USF staff to develop the temporary construction easement, and so the action item requested today of the committee is to approve this temporary construction easement.
Exactly, where is this construction project?
This is by the proposed station at 6th Avenue South and 3rd Street. So it's along 3rd Street is where the construction will occur.
Down at the end of the line station in downtown St. Petersburg.
Right.
At the USF campus, at USF St. Pete campus.
Okay. Right, so this, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. We're usurping the role
I'll wait
here
outside.
of our chair here, so let the people after a minute.
No, I'm curious, the exact location at Third and Sixth on the, which corner?
So it's on the
Yeah.
northeast corner of 3rd Street and 6th Avenue
Okay,
South.
I got it. I know where it is.
Well, for the board meeting, we'll have a map.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We're not doing the charging station for the electric bus near that area, are we? Okay, that's a previous decision. We decided to move it here to this location. Okay.
It's going here next month. 2 weeks. This is a temporary construction easement.
This one, the USF.
Yes.
All right.
Is this approval?
Thank you.
One second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. And Flamingo Fairs policy.
Would that be a consent?
That should be consent.
Who moved for that motion?
Commissioner Rice?
Who second? I didn't get any of it.
Okay, thank you.
Sometimes it's so fast.
Rice moved.
I just whispered something to Debbie, and she said, "Wow, you're really wound up today." And it's a lot of it's because I'm kind of excited about this. I know that sounds very strange. But what? Okay, turn it on. We're finally here. I know, we're finally here with Flamingo Fairs. And I've just spent yesterday over at Hart with Michael Hansen, who's a PM with Espressa Zenku in our finance department, sort of finalizing some of the things that we're going to be seeing over the next few weeks about our beta test. And one of the reasons that I'm so excited about this is because we get to make riding our system so much easier for our passengers. So what we're talking about today is sort of the boring side of the Flamingo Fairs, which is the federally mandated fare policy. So I have to bring it to you so we can make some changes, but they're all very good and exciting. So this is where we were, and this is where we are going. This is into the future. We're going to make it so much easier for folks. And look at how happy she is, just like me. So we spent some time a few years ago kind of mentally preparing for this, and we changed our fare policy. We had, I think it was like 17 different kinds of fares you could buy, maybe closer to 27.
Yeah.
It was long. It was like a long, ridiculous list. And we started to pare down what we were offering to people. But it still requires people to sort of crystal ball it on how much they're going to ride. So for people who like, oh, I'm not sure if I can, am I going to buy a 3-day pass this week, or am I going to buy a 7-day pass this week, or I can't afford a monthly pass at the beginning of the month, so I'll just buy weekly passes because that's how my budget works. But it still requires a lot of thinking, even though we streamlined this, our current fare policy to be just, are you regular, do you pay the regular fare, do you pay a reduced fare, or are you taking a regional trip? And what we need to do in order to accept this opportunity for Flamingo Fairs to have the best fare option is we're going to eliminate some of these, proposing to eliminate the 3-day and the 7-day and go to an even more streamlined fare policy. So when we do the beta test and we launch Flamingo publicly, we'll introduce this idea of fare capping or best value, so that people will just use their account, much like you do at Starbucks or Target or whatever, and you just go and you tap, and it's part of your account. So you load money on your card, and you're just paying for your coffee. You're just paying for your bus fare. But in this case, the first time you ride, it's going to be $2.25. Second time you ride the same day is going to be $2.25. Third time you ride is going to be 50 cents. Everything else after that is free. So cap out at $5 each day. So you don't have to say, well, if I take the 4 up and the 4 back, I'll pay $4.50. If I transfer to something else, I'm only going to pay 50 cents. I don't have to think about it at the beginning of the day. And the same thing for the month. So if I ride up to $70 in a calendar month, I'll earn a free month. So for people who ride every day and they cap out at that $5 every day, that's 14 days, and they've just earned the rest of the month for free. And then they can load their money as they have it, right? So some people come to the service center and they have $70 and they lay down their $70. Say, here's my 31-day pass, and we sell it to them. They may not have $70, and they can load whatever they've got on their card, and they can do this at the service center, online, or if they're using the virtual card, the mobile app, they can do it right on the mobile app, or they can set auto reload for when you get low, like your SunPass, and they don't have to worry about laying out $70 at the beginning of the month. It's just going to be there, and they're going to get the best value no matter what. So that is probably the most exciting thing that we've got going here. The other thing that we talked about at length was how do you ride with a family, how do you ride with friends, and really making it easy to use this for a group. And so PSTA has added a product called the Group Pass, and that's so for up to 5 people can ride for $10 for the day. So I'm out with my husband, my kids, I'm standing at the Suncoast Beach trolley stop. It has a nice sign that says download the mobile app for faster boarding. I buy it, $10. We all get on, piece of cake. Abhishek's out with his friends for a night out on the town, and he says, don't worry guys, I got this, right? And he gets on with 4 of his friends. We also have in this, in the fare policy, I am clearly too excited about this.
Had like way too much caffeine.
Is the transition plan. So not everybody's going to want to do this right away. So we have a plan to continue to sell our mag stripes 6 months after we do the public launch and the retail network is up and running. So right now we're expecting the beta test to be in February, the general public launch in April, and the retail network probably in September. So September would be our sort of clock, when the clock starts on continuing to sell those mag stripes. We would do that for 6 months, and then for an additional 6 months, we would accept those mag stripes. So the existing paper cards, and I know that I think at least half the people in this room have had the experience of going to the beach and then your mag stripe is all disintegrated. This will no longer happen with Flamingo Fair, so also very excited about that. Did I miss anything? Did I miss anything? No? Do you want to add anything?
No, I think you got it.
Yeah? I can't look at his smile. He's so excited. I don't think I see the budget director smile this much. So the other thing is, in your packet, you also have our federally mandated Title VI analysis. And so because we are our population of Title VI populations uses our fare system about the same as the general population. We're not, we're okay in terms of making these changes in Title VI. And so that's the other thing that we need to ask you to accept as part of this fare policy change. So, old system, beautiful new system. Yes.
Commissioner Rice?
So this is great news. This is fantastic. So I get it, this works with the Flamingo Fare app, but a bus rider can also buy a Flamingo card and keep track of the best value system on the card.
So the cards will be like your Starbucks card. You're either going to have it on your app or you're going to have it on the card, right?
Okay.
The card you can look online. The mobile app, you're going to look right on the mobile app to see how much you've got left. It's also going to tell you every time you use it. It'll pop up with what you've got left.
Do we have an idea of the percentage of how many of our riders don't have smartphones?
We do, I don't know that off the top of my head, but it won't be an issue because we'll have the card and we'll have a transition plan, and we have a marketing and communications plan, and that includes people going out to the terminals and talking to folks. And we've got plenty of time to do that, and we're talking about some incentives to help people make the transition, because when they use this card, it is better for them for so many reasons, but it's better for us too. It makes boarding faster, so we're gonna be more efficient, we're gonna stay on time, it's less cash handling, all of these good things for the agency, in addition to great things for the riders. And so we're gonna make sure it's easy for folks.
This is great. Great work.
Commissioner Cox?
Yeah, hi, Cassandra. The reduced fare, help me understand this, all right? Now, like a senior has to go and get a photo ID, which I have, and how are we gonna monitor that? Plus, like the transportation disadvantage, or, the ones with the reduced fares and so on and so forth.
So the-
Income driven?
So two different things. So reduced fare, let's take care of that, and like seniors. So right now you go get a government issued ID, and for us, we have an ID that you can get that says that you are a PSTA reduced fare rider.
Right.
If you have a smart card, we'll replace that with your photo on the back of the smart card, and so you only have to carry one card. You may still need that card if you decide to go with the mobile app, because we won't have your photo on the mobile app, and so it'll just say, to the operator like it does today, please check ID, and you'll have.
That's how they do it in Seattle. You have to go to your terminal to get approved.
Right.
And
Well, initially, when you become eligible for a reduced fare, you have to go to a terminal.
Oh, right.
Just, so then, but then from then on,
That's good.
you're in the system as being eligible for that reduced pass all the time.
And then, now we come to the regional part of it for the reduced. I saw that there was a fare for the regular, monthly, but I guess the reduced would be at $35, and there's $1.50 for them to go to, through the regional area, like.
Okay.
Yeah, to Tampa or to Manatee. I don't see Manatee on here either.
So to use the PSTA system,
Yeah.
you all of these are for the PSTA system.
Okay.
So let's say you take the 300X over to Marion Street, and then you get on the 19 because you're going to visit the Heart 19 because you're going to visit somebody at the Tampa General
Right.
for the day. You will have an account, stored value account. You will cap out on the PSTA system, but you'll pay the $2 fare for the Heart system out of your account
Okay.
separately.
Okay.
Unless, let's say you're a commuter to downtown and you go to TGH every day, you would be better off getting the Passport, which is a monthly product. So that one, you do pay upfront for the month, the $85, but that gets you on the PSTA system and and the HART system,
Understood.
both, without doing the fare capping.
And then, and this is regional as well, I see that it's going to Hart. Let's see, Hernando's a bus, Pasco, PCPT, Sarasota, SCAT. But I know.
Manatee's not in.
Manatee
Yeah, well,
opted
right?
out.
Well, we had a discussion back in November
Yes.
about getting an MOU with, remember the guy helped get on the bus?
Yeah, yeah.
We're working
About
on-
the service that goes to the
Yeah,
VA.
yeah, yeah.
The Manatee County Commission voted not to participate in Flamingo.
Really?
Why?
Huh.
I'm not sure.
But you can still ride the Manatee if you just, you got the bus several spots.
It just would be,
You have
yeah,
to get
paid
yeah,
for it separately.
would be two
Yeah.
different
Understood.
media, yes.
But,
So your other question, I don't want to lose sight of that, transportation disadvantage, that will be treated as an institutional user, so much like our UPass and our CPass, and that will be the next phase of rollout, where we'll manage those slightly differently, but also issue folks cards or mobile app. I don't think we've made that final decision yet.
but we do have people that go to Pasco via like Route 19 and then
Mhm.
connect at Tarpon and go on PCPT too. So it'll work for that.
But this is great for the
No, yeah,
unbanked as
I mean,
well,
yeah, yeah.
because if we have riders who are unbanked, they can load their card at the customer service center.
Okay.
So it really covers all bases for folks.
Mr. Berkeley? Could you just give me a quick rundown on what the different categories are for reduced fares? I don't understand. I mean, we used to have like a separate thing for age, for disability, for whatever.
So these are
It's
all combined.
Combined, yeah,
All
okay, but
combined.
what?
Seniors, people with
Seniors,
disabilities, and students are the
Students,
main
yes,
ones.
main ones, yeah.
Only
Okay.
3 categories.
Okay,
Or if you have a valid Medicare card, that's a federal requirement.
You can show your Medicare.
Even if you don't meet the age for the senior citizen, but there's certain people that have Medicare, get
Disability.
Medicare in their,
Right.
yeah, earlier.
due to a disability or something, and then, so that's all they had to show.
Right.
Okay, yeah, we need to publicize all the different categories. It's confusing to people if they don't know whether they're gonna have to pay full fare or reduced fare, and what kind of hoops they have to jump through to get qualified for a reduced fare. We ought to kind of make a laundry list of that so people can see for themselves without having to call up and all that kind of thing.
It is in our fare policy, all of the different types, and and then we have an entire, we have a one-pager of what you
Yeah,
do
that's what we
to
need,
qualify.
yeah, okay.
So.
All right,
it's
and
not-
that's readily available at the centers where fares are sold, bus passes are sold.
I
so-
have espresso check.
Yeah.
Okay.
To me, if you look at the longer-term trends on ridership and the kinds of passes people are buying, not so sure about the advertising of making it easier for seniors to qualify, because the percentage of our overall ridership and number of senior reduced fare passes being sold is skyrocketing. It
Really?
seems like everyone's getting a clue somehow. That
Okay.
they can ride the bus for half price.
Okay.
And that is a fair.
That's incentive, huh?
That's growing,
Resort
and the
Sunday drive.
full price fares is not growing. It's going down.
Okay.
That's advertised on the bus too.
Yeah, I mean, we're required to advertise.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
But this is great for like the occasional user too, right? So it's not just, I'm gonna go and I need bus passes, or I'm gonna go pay cash and reduce fare. It's, you might have this in your wallet, right? Like, sorry, mom, my mom lives in Dunedin, and, she wants to take the trolley down to Clearwater. Now she can keep it in her card, except, and not ask me to bring her a pass.
Thank you. So I will say that I think you have reason to be excited. This is great stuff, especially the group pass, which is something I've been longing for. So I think that's great. Couple of questions though. We have children under 5 years and younger ride free.
Yes.
What is the age at which a child can ride the bus on their own? Unaccompanied by an adult.
That's,
We looked this up, and PSA does not have a policy. We don't have an official policy on. it's up to your fine parenting skills when you feel.
So if a 6-year-old gets just walks up to a bus stop with an app or $2.25, they just get on it?
Well, I know that your children have to be over the age of 12 to leave them at home alone. And so I would think that's
Now, interestingly,
illegal.
I understand that's a recommendation, not a law.
Okay.
So we don't have a policy on age of the unaccompanied minor?
No, we don't.
Airlines do.
We don't.
So
We
my
can
first
look into that.
recommendation is we probably should.
Okay, yeah.
And if that age is greater than 5 years old, then that's the age that we should set for children riding free. So if we say you have to be 12 years old to ride unaccompanied, then 11-year-old, 10-year-old, 9, those should all be free as part of, they have to go with the family, as opposed to having a family of, I realize the group pass will help cover some of this, but, a group of a 7 and 8-year-old with a parent wind up paying more than if they were a little bit younger. Yeah, they can't ride on their own. So I'd like to see us try to determine what that line is and then have our free pass go up to that line. The second item is and I wasn't sure because it says it different on the different slides. So one says a calendar month, one says a 31-day.
Yeah, so
Is it 31 days or is it calendar month?
this one is what we have right now is 31 days.
Right?
Moving forward, we will cap at the calendar month.
Okay, so in the text document, it still says 31 day on
Okay.
the updated one. I think, yeah.
Okay.
And so the question becomes, is there a reason why we switched back to a calendar month instead of a 31 day? So if I activate, if I start riding on the 25th, then I only get, 4, 5, 6, whatever, how many days are in that month before I hit my fare cap.
Right.
Is there a reason why we switched and why we wouldn't just keep it as a 30 or 31 day from the activation window when they start?
So that would be a technical question, maybe Espresso or Mike, please talk about what our technical capabilities are for that.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that, we had several meetings about that, and it was just technically not capable, the system with all the revenue sharing and the revenue splitting and revenue distribution, to do it that way. It was much easier to have a clean cutoff on a calendar month.
It was more of regional decision with parks.
Okay. Well, and I understand the accounting side of it and technical issues, but from a user perspective,
Yeah.
being able to say, I'm just using my pass, right? I'm not paying, right, by giving a calendar month, we are now putting on another restriction when we just talked about taking all those things off. Like, just go and ride. We got you covered, we'll figure out the best fare, just go. And now by putting a calendar month, we're saying, unless it's the end of the month, in which case maybe you want to hold off or not do, or, so down the road, if we can add that feasibility or increase those conversations, it seems like a set number of days would help each individual rider just create their own transit plan, as opposed to trying to fit back into one of our boxes. So,
Although if you just do that 1 month, then your next month you'll be good to go. If you keep riding.
and I realize for most people this won't work, or won't be an issue, but again, I love the idea of the simplicity of it, that just, here's your app, here's your card, just get on the bus, and we're gonna make sure you pay the least you can for the rides that you wanna take. So that it shouldn't have limits at all, as far as the date, or, only on Sundays, but not next Thursday, sort of thing.
I agree.
Good.
We'll see what we can do.
So if I was holding an event and I wanted to offer like a handful of gratis one day passes or one ride passes, would I go and buy a Flamingo card and load it with $225?
Like
or-
you're holding an event.
And I know there's some people that may want to take the bus, and I just want to give them a bus ticket.
So we will have some limited use passes
Mhm.
that we can distribute. We're also working on, like, if you have a conference, right?
Mhm.
You're you have a conference, you're in downtown St. Pete, and the conference wants people to ride from the airport and then ride the BRT while they're, or they have some things down on the BRT line, like maybe an event, then we can work with them to have a promo code so that they can say, well, we as the event organizers want to give our attendees a 3-day pass. Then they would work with Espressa and Mike to get a promo code, and then everyone who downloads the app uses that promo code, we would then charge them for that pass. But that would be on a contract-by-contract basis. We could do that for 3 days, or for like a week, or whatever that conference organizers wanted to do. But if you were like a small business and said, I want to give 1,000 one-day passes to all of my customers that buy a bike helmet this month, then we could sell limited use passes for one ride.
Commissioner Fox.
In the Portland area, it's called TriMet. And,
Yes.
Okay, and you can purchase, and then you can also go into like Vancouver, Washington. So there's a joint agreement in Seattle that you get an Orca card, and there's all sorts of options you can have, using that, or different agencies, like King County, so on and so forth, the ferry.
That's what we're trying to do here. too.
Yeah, I like it. It's great.
So the Flamingo Fairs also work with the CPAS, or is that going to be separate still?
So that'll be sort of that institutional user where, depending on who it is, like SPC, we might say, well, SPC, instead of using your IDs now, the students have to download the mobile app, insert their SPC emails and your SPC promo code, and you'll be able to check the emails or make sure that the emails are valid so that they're valid students. So we'll just put it in the app. In the case of other smaller UPass or CPass, they may want to use the limited use cards.
It'll also be necessary to ride the BRT too. Because you have 2 entrances. Where would the readers be on the BRT?
Near the 2 entrances,
2 entrances.
so as people walk in, they can.
And not at like an end station or anything like that, there won't be one outdoors?
No, just
Off
inside
board.
buses.
Okay, I understand.
All right. So what was there was an ask here. An action item? So changing revising the fare policy is what the action item is?
And accepting the fair equity analysis, so recommend approval of the fair equity analysis as well.
One last question. When was the launch, it says beginning with the launch of Flamingo Fairs, what was that date?
We would like to move that to the launch of the retail network, so that would be September that we would start the clock on the sale or the transition plan from the Mag Stripe to the Flamingo Fairs. So that we have 3 different ways of getting people to move from where they are today to the Flamingo Fair process. So one is sort of that, 3 ways to get my son to do something. It's candy, please, 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 because you love me, or I'm going to take something away. So we're going to move in that direction of incentivizing it, then you're sort of saying, please, 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 just do it. And then saying, well, we're not going to have to take it away now, but we're going to give you plenty of time to sort of
A year.
get your head around
A
it.
year before we cut cold turkey off of the.
Which is based on the consultant that's been helping us, and he implemented this at TriMet in Portland. He said that a time period is really important to get the adoption rate that you're looking for.
Okay.
And of course, cash fares will still be accepted, although not preferred.
TriMet was using the Mag Stripe when I was there over the summer too. TriMet in Portland,
Yeah.
but they're going to the card.
They're in like a transition period too.
Like Seattle. Gotcha. Cool.
Is there a motion?
Move approval?
Second.
Gotcha, and I would agree on both the fair equity analysis and the fair structure.
And just one so we talked about a couple things like potentially children's age and things like that. If we revisit that, we can obviously bring it back to amend what's
Absolutely.
presented now, just move forward with this as is.
Yes.
All right.
Mhm.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, passed unanimously, thank you. Really, thank you, that's awesome stuff. Future meeting subjects. Any additional?
Well, per Commissioner Barclay's questions, we'll be coming back to this planning committee hopefully very soon with accepting of some BRT funding and the construction contracts, the bigger construction contracts with BRT later this spring.
This will go from the full board, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Barclay?
I would like to have an update on the bus driver shield installation project.
Oh, yes.
There was something on the radio this morning as I was sitting in traffic driving here. Hart keeps getting on the radio and we don't. And we need some free advertising too on this subject. So I want to try to do what we can to step this up and get a higher profile. I really think it's important for our bus drivers and our union people to feel safe, and it's also important because I think it demonstrates to customers that we're, standing out there as being a very safe vehicle.
Thank you for bringing that up. The shields are being installed on our fleet right now as we speak. I don't know, as of today, it's probably around 75 or, about, so that's about a third of the fleet has them on right now. And then by probably a month or next several weeks, we'll have the whole fleet equipped with the shields. They're being installed as they are delivered from the factory. And later today, I'll be meeting with the Tampa Bay Times, and I know that the Times is working on a story about bus operator safety. I think they contacted several of our board members for comments. It's certainly something we're paying close attention
I
to.
just want to appear proactive, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah. I'm hopeful that the article will highlight all the different measures we're taking, from training to the shields.
Can we get one of our photography folks in-house to take a couple pictures of buses that have them installed already, and get that in the newspaper article we were talking about? Okay.
Your point's right on it, and I think part of the messaging too is for everybody's safety. It's for the other riders too, who aren't jeopardized because someone threatens the very person who's in
Right,
control of the bus.
people could have been injured in that one where
Yeah.
the truck driver was killed.
Yeah.
The man was a brave person. To get the help to the side,
Yeah.
that was terrible.
Along those same lines, there's a bill in the legislature now regarding bus shields.
To increase, it's to increase the penalty for assaulting a bus operator to be equivalent to other safety.
I thought there was also something for bus shields. I saw that.
I saw the one about increasing the penalties, which we've had on our legislative priority list or watched this for a while to do that. Like funding for bus shields.
I don't know if it was funding or a requirement, it was, I saw it in passing on a news report the other day, but I can look into that. But the question was, I was gonna ask was, is it something that the legislation might be requiring? Is there an appropriation? If there's an appropriation, can we go back and get it for being proactive on these things? So, but if you're not aware of it, then I start to, question my own awareness of it. So, any other business? Yeah.
Would you like these items on consent or action?
I think we
Which?
we talked about
All
each
of
of
them. There's four action items.
I think, Rachel, we got it. We're gonna put the BRT County Beach one on action, and the Flamingo one on action.
On action.
I don't know if I can maintain the same level of excitement, but.
I am confident that you will bring it even more.
I would just also like to add that very proud of PSTA for having a table at the Martin Luther King breakfast
2 tables.
on Monday. And 2 tables, yeah, thank you very much. I was with another organization, Vince was with another organization, but we stopped by to say hi to everybody at PSTA, and I'm very
Yes,
proud
thank
of
you.
that. That's another example of how we are active in the community and support our local community.
I think on that note, I think Rosa Parks, her big event, I think that was in February. I think the anniversary for that is in February. It'd be cool if there were a few buses that, honored Rosa Parks in February.
Well, I mean, the bus this is the first year that we've had a wrapped bus, and
It's really cool.
Rosa Parks is primo face on the side of
I
it.
think you can keep that on all year.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a lot of, thanks to Mr.
Yeah,
Cox
the
for
same
walking with
thing
us,
with-
we got a lot of compliments about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
the
sure.
same thing with the Feed the Hungry bus that we had. We keep that on for a while, or we take it right back off?
That's on there.
Okay, yeah, we've got
Safety Pride is on there.
rotate the route so everybody sees that.
We got Rosa Parks, we got Feeding the Hungry, and we've got Safety Pride, and then we've got
Mhm.
lawyers.
Yeah, then you got-
More.
Yeah, okay.
All right. With nothing else, meeting's adjourned.
All right, thank you.
Good first meeting, Mr. Chair.
I will not be here for this.
Good job.
Easy to get in and out of. Yeah, they're a little easy to get in and out of.
You've been writing earlier.
Yeah, I just did a quick search. I didn't find what I thought I was talking about. Very well could be wrong.
There is, I was in Tamika's office.
Just to make sure that there's.
I noticed.
Going under that